Hello, wherever you are in America or around the world. This is an adventure for me. I've been doing a podcast, but this is my first Rumble, my first streaming, and I'm learning. I'm a novice at this technical side. I've learned some editing on this script, but um, this is a new one when you don't get to do editing. So here I am. I'm going to put out some information and hopefully give me a response. If you've been doing things for a while, I'm going to try to keep my uhs and hums down. And if you've been streaming for a while, give me any points or hints or helps that might make it better. I'm going to be working on doing that. I am Phil Little, host of the Private Investigator Experience podcast. As I've said, this is my maiden voyage on Rumble and streaming. I tried to set up direct from YouTube, which said you could do that, but now I find out that they have blocked that, so we can't automatically stream from YouTube, which I have a YouTube channel under Phil Little Private Investigator, and I'm trying to find out how this is going to work now between all the platforms. So if you haven't heard of me, I own West Coast Detectives International, a 102-year-old global security firm. And I work my cases through the lens of my military, law enforcement, intelligence service, and global security background. Then I add just a touch of my biblical worldview to solve cases and get solutions for our clients. We share about the life of a PI and PI cases and look behind the scenes, but we also look at things that affect our security and our neighborhoods. There are so many events taking place out around the world that can affect us here at home, and they will. One of the top developments over the last 3.5 years that I've been doing a deep dive investigation on, all the way down to Panama and tracking terrorists and illegals coming into the country, and this open borders that's been in effect the last 3.5 years that can affect our neighborhoods. And this is something we need to be looking at. Part of my purpose for starting the podcast was not just to share about the life and times of a PI. And I've done all kinds of television stuff. I've done over 100 television shows. I've done all kinds of hosting and radio and television and done a lot of live television. But that's not the real purpose of entertainment here. It's hopefully to get you to become an investigator. And today, with all the tools that's out there, when I started in the investigative field after I left law enforcement and then continued almost in government work, we didn't have any of those tools. We had to go out in the streets and get everything. Now you can have 85, 90% of what you need to know about someone before you ever go out. So you can become an investigator. You can put your fingers to work on Mr. Google or whatever search engine you're using, and you can find out what's going on in your community. I encourage you to do that because it's up to you and me and our communities, one of us at a time, to step out of the crowd and get involved. This open border, we've seen the results of that, not just in the border states, but all over the country. And I've been in over 30 countries out around the world, working and doing various things. I've never seen one that has open borders, and you can't survive with that. Well, also, when we look at the weak leadership that we have in Washington, that's affected us out around the world. It's emboldened our enemies, and it's brought suspicion and worry to our friends. If we, the stockholders of America, do not wake up and take back our country in November, we're going to see these problems escalate beyond anything that we can ever imagine. Well, what are some of the solutions to the growing crime, runaway inflation, open borders, coddling of offenders, cashless bail, defunding police, and on we could go? The first is we need a change from top to bottom in Washington. And I'm talking about both parties. We need men and women who put country first, believe in the Constitution, believe in strong law enforcement, and prosecutors and judges who take the violent offenders off the street after our police have put their lives on the line many times to bring them to court just to see them released. The political party is not the answer. It is men and women who know how to attack problems effectively. They have a background in real work, not just a life of politics, where they have learned these solutions, how they can make our country better and keep us safe. Less government, not more government. As I was thinking about the loss of life on the recent 9/11, that's been 21 of, 22, 23 of those now. And I thought of something I hadn't thought of before. And I think probably it was because of this election coming up. At being military and having a commander in chief, I thought, of these two candidates, who would I want to be commander in chief when the next event occurs? And friends, it's not if another one's going to occur, it's when, and it will probably be bigger. So think about those two candidates. Which one would you want to be commander in chief? Excuse me, in the middle of a disaster like we had in 9/11. So this is an area that is important in who we vote for, along with all the other things. Inflation, taking away religious rights, First Amendment rights, Second Amendment rights. Who would be best to protect us? And that's what we should be looking at when we vote, not which party they're in. That shouldn't matter when it gets down to it. Our country here is at stake. Who do you want drawing up the plans over the next weeks, months, until something might happen? So let's put that on our list when we evaluate which candidates that we are going to vote for. Now people say, "Oh, you just be soft on crime, criminals. Talk to them, give them a little help, pat them on the back, let them know they can do better, and everything will turn out all right." Well, how has that worked out for us? I want to touch just on that situation in our hemisphere, south of us, where a new president got elected, and he decided he was going to do something about the problems in their country. Now, this country, without any help from the U.S. or any other country, and in fact, the U.S. tried to keep them from taking these actions. But down in El Salvador, when this new president, and I'm going to use some old style words here, I don't have a picture to roll up there yet, but this is President Bukele, who was elected in 5 years ago for the first time, just re-elected this last summer. And he decided that he had to do something about his country. They were the #1 murder capital in the world, beyond any other country and all the ones we could think of about that had violence. And thousands of his citizens were being slaughtered. So he decided they needed to act. He got his team together, and they knew a Band-Aid wouldn't work. So he proposed a crackdown on the 70,000 folks, 70,000 gang members. And he decided that they had to take them off the streets if they were going to get safety back and where they could build their economy back. So he got together with his law enforcement and military, and he knew that they couldn't just do a Band-Aid to this and take some of them off, because then they would still have numbers on the street to cause chaos. And they decided that they were going to put together a plan that in a few weeks they would accomplish this, not years or months. And remember, they had no outside help, no outside money, and they just decided on their own, we're going to stop this criminal activity. Within a few weeks of round-the-clock operations, they had rounded up and arrested these 70,000 gang members and had them in jail. Now, there's so much more to this story. Most of this is online. You can find out for yourself. Tucker Carlson was just down there and did an interview with him. I heard him speak at CPAC this last summer, which really brought him to my attention. So I started digging in to what has happened down there. Today, from the worst, #1 murder capital in the world, El Salvador is the safest country in the world. Safest streets. President Bukele was just reelected with almost 86% of the vote. And he's making moves. They're recovering economically and bringing their country back. He has the highest support from citizens of any leader in the world. And in fact, people from El Salvador that are in the United States are moving back there now because of the opportunity and the hope in their country, which they love. Now, on the other side of things down there, Venezuela, which is, we know what's happened there. You'd have to be living in a cave not to know how the destruction there has been. But they emptied out the prisons and they ushered them in to the welcome borders of the U.S. with Biden and Harris's open borders. Welcoming committees met them, gave them money and locations, travel vouchers and insurance, everything they needed. And a lot of these were part of MS-13, which is a violent gang. And they're now part of the ones that we've let in that have taken over the apartments in Aurora, Colorado, and they are wreaking havoc. And the illustrious president of Venezuela has made it clear to the U.S. he wasn't taking any of these back, so don't send them back. So, thanks to open borders. But is all hopeless? No, I don't think it is. I'm still an optimist, even though my optimism has really drained down this last year. But if we come together, do your own investigation. Don't take my word for any of this. Check it out. And then, if we, like-minded citizens, start pushing back on this assault on a republic, we can take America back to what our founding fathers envisioned. You might ask, how can I get involved? Well, the breakdown of our society has started right in your local community with woke progressive prosecutors, woke school boards, woke local city and county governments and schools. Research your local area on all these issues. Look where action is needed. Get involved. Run for your school board. Show up at your school boards. Get your neighbors and friends together and take back, which has happened in many parts of the country. School boards have been taken back over from the woke members and agenda. They've ousted them, and they've got freedom-loving, Constitution-believing, God-fearing, and federal government keep out of our lives, and local government taking back over of their schools. So there's plenty that you can do. Just start right in your local community, but then important that you vote. When I've heard the numbers of Americans that are not registered to vote, out of the 90 million professing that say they're Christian, only 45% of those have voted, and more than 15% or more are not even registered to vote. So those numbers are difficult to imagine or believe. We can do something about it, folks. You don't have to be a Christian to vote right. You could just want freedom of speech, freedom of religion, your Second Amendment rights, a smaller government, deflation gone down, prices gone down so that you can live and support your family. Well, and you might say, I'm too busy with work, kids in school, and all the after-school activities. But if not you, then who will stand up and take back your community? Evil can only prosper when good men and women are silent. Please let me know what you think about the status of our nation. Leave me your comments about areas you would like to learn about on our future posts, or on any of the. You can leave those on any of the platforms, or you can email me at pi777@gmail.com. I would appreciate your help by liking, sharing, subscribing. You know the drill. Hit that notification bell to know when future posts comes out. Again, my email is pi777@gmail.com. Remember, together we can make a difference. Let's stand up, step out of the crowd. Until next time, be safe. May God bless you and protect you, your family, and may God bless America.